What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I don't think it's any surprise that I loathe Hollywood deeply. This is an industry that generates billions, many billions every single year, yet seems to be continuously needing bailouts and taxpayer subsidies to exist. And they just stuck their hand out to the government and it got beautifully slapped away, just like you slapped that like button on this video. Now, just a brief history of how many times we've had to bail out Hollywood, and that's us, the taxpayers. We can go back to things like March 7th, 2013. Big Hollywood bailout. Taxpayers spend nearly $40 million to subsidize Disney's Oz. Michigan citizens helped pay for Disney's record profits. In 2010, Michigan had an annual unemployment rate of 12.5%. Then Governor Jennifer Granholm told lawmakers to expect a $1.58 billion deficit in the following year, to expect a $263 per pupil cut for K through 12 education. Yet the state played part in allowing one of the most lucrative companies in the world to post a record $4.8 billion in profits by handing it nearly $40 million in tax credits. That was the year Disney made the movie Oz, the Great and Powerful, and received $39.7 million of the $75.2 million from the state of Michigan handed out to film producers. Ironically, the state film subsidies nearly matched the $39.8 million salary Walt Disney Chief Executive Officer Bob Iger was paid in 2012. Oz was filmed in Pontiac, Michigan, Motion Picture Studios, formerly known as Raleigh Studios. The movie opens Friday. Awesome. Governor Rick Snyder has proposed slashing the amount the state gives to filmmakers by 50%, cutting the $50 million cap to $25 million. Well, it should be $0 million. This is just simple economics. When times are tough, we need to stop giving money to people that don't need it. I'm sorry if we can't get another remake or live action remake from some stupid movie that we could all rewatch from back in the day. There is a innumerable amount of amount of entertainment, so much so that any one person could never consume it all. We could live without movies for a very long time. Go back to 2008. Bailout to save Hollywood? Surprise, fun fact about the $700 billion bailout. This is back in 2008. The Senate just approved. The tax cuts included in the revised version could save movie and TV producers who film in the U.S. more than $470 million over the next 10 years. Phew, thank goodness someone is looking out for the struggling studios who are ironically also claiming their business is recession-proof. More loathsome, the pro film and TV industry tax breaks were backed by the MPAA, Directors Guild of America, and Independent Film and Television Alliance. How heartening that this, at time of national crisis, lobbyists could still succeed at influencing legislation. The LA Times. That's not a lot of money, given the average studio movie costs $106.6 million to make and market. But it could keep some low-budget production and jobs from going offshore. Hollywood has long sought measures to curb so-called runaway production, which it blames for causing thousands of jobs lost in California, as filmmakers have fled to Canada and other foreign countries that offer cost savings through tax breaks. Indeed, Southern Californians have complained about tax cut causing TV production to be shifted elsewhere, like New York, which is what happened with Ugly Betty. Blah, 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 blah. Don't care. How about, again, back in 2008, Hollywood benefit from U.S. bailout? Again, Hollywood may benefit from the proposed $700 billion, right? Will Hollywood find a special place in the latest bailout? We move to right now, current day. This is March 24th. And by the way, Netflix already created a $100 million fund to aid the Hollywood labor force. This is what you call taking care of your own, right? We saw Amazon's Jeff Bezos, while people were demanding he just give his money away because reasons, he opened 100,000 jobs. Netflix, multi-billion-dollar corporation, they help the industry that helps them. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how capitalism works. If Netflix wants their feeder line of indie movies and indie productions to continue, then they are financially interested, benefited by investing in it. Netflix has created a $100 million fund to support Hollywood laborers put out of work by the situation, deploying a safety net for thousands of people who work in film and TV production. The world's largest paid streaming service said it will spend $85 million to support people working on its productions, so their own people. Netflix pledged an additional $15 million to third parties, such as Motion Picture and Television Fund and Disaster Fund, created by the largest U.S. union for actors. Studios have been halted. Productions around the world in response to everything going on, putting actors, writers, truck drivers, sound engineers, and gaffers, okay, those are people I might care about. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, the labor union representing craftspeople in the entertainment industry, estimates that 120 of its 150,000 members have lost work already. Yeah, join the club. Netflix spent $15 billion on programming last year and planned to top that figure this year, but the streaming service has halted production of scripted programming in the United States and Canada. Boo-hoo, hoo-hoo-hoo. Netflix is trash. But no, that didn't stop Hollywood from literally lobbying in Washington for a slice of their bailout this coming March 23rd. We want our members to have the same access to what's being offered as what any 9-to-5 employee can get, Caroline O'Connor of the SAG-AFTRA Foundation says. Through the offices of Hollywood's guilds and company, though the offices of Hollywood guilds and companies may be closed, they are all flooding the Capitol Hill. They are all flooding Capitol Hill with phone calls and emails as Congress races to build a federal aid package in the face of everything going on. As House Democrats prepare to build a broader stimulus bill for the passage this week, and Republicans try to push theirs through, which we now know they've agreed on, except now genius Nancy Pelosi said everyone can take the day off so they don't have to deal with it today. For now, the majority of relief that Hollywood will receive from Washington, especially for movie theaters, are part of a more general sweeping programs that are being ironed out as the American economy sinks into a recession. But the provisions for unique nature of how writers, directors, actors, and filming crews make ends meet will be essential. Really? Are they really any different than the average American person who now is at least temporarily slated to receive a $1,200 check if they make less than $100,000? What makes them more important? Oh, it's Hollywood. You couldn't possibly have, a trillion-dollar industry, easily a trillion-dollar industry, not take care of their own. All that money's gone. The Endgame grossed over $1 billion, but that money's all gone. Sorry, everyone. Now, of course, I do feel for the movie theater employees and everybody on the lower end of Hollywood, but they're going to be helped by the general bill. I am certain that Hollywood was using this situation to put themselves into a place to get massive tax credits over the next couple of years. We saw them do it in 2008 and they were successful. And now in 2020, they're trying to do it again. When we look at actually everything that is in the bill, there's nothing for Hollywood, thankfully. Now there is a lot of pork in there and a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. But interestingly enough, as of 8 a.m. this morning, Hollywood shouldn't count on much relief from the $2 trillion federal bailout. Wop, 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 wop. The entertainment industry is obviously being hit hard by the current environment. Is it? They are getting pushed to push movies out on digital platforms that they already exist. They're selling movies still. Netflix and Hulu subscriptions are certainly at an all-time high right now. Disney Plus is at an all-time high and growing. Disney's using early releases to get people to flock to signing up to long-term subscriptions for Disney Plus. They're still making plenty of money. The Trump White House and Congress struck a deal early Wednesday for an unprecedented $2 trillion economic rescue package in response to the ongoing issues But Hollywood shouldn't expect to be high up on the list to receive an industry-wide bailout, public policy experts told The Wrap. The entertainment industry has obviously been hit hard by the current environment, but so too have a number of other industries, ones that are actually important, said Brian L., a lead bankruptcy reorganization and capital lawyer. If Congress is going to parcel out money to any particular industries, I think those under those circumstances, it's possible. But it just doesn't seem to me that Hollywood has a special place over and above other industries like the leisure industry, like the restaurant industry. I'd agree with that. If you would make the argument for theater workers, who will all probably be, I'm assuming nobody that works in a movie theater makes more than $100,000 a year. So they'll be receiving the full $1,200, which isn't that much. Believe me, I understand. It's not like it's $1 million. And hopefully maybe there's more coming down the road if things can't get going again, sooner than later. According to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysts, arts and entertainment recreation accounted for just 1% of the nation's gross domestic product in 2018. That's just over 1/3 of what the accommodation and food service sector contributed. The stimulus package, which is expected to win congressional approval on Wednesday, includes a $367 billion loan program for small businesses impacted by things, as well as a $500 billion in loans for industries, states, and cities. Individual Americans would be eligible to receive a direct payment of $1,200. Much about the debate has been going back and forth, but that doesn't mean the entertainment industry, business, or workers will be left completely high and dry. Bob Hockett, a lawyer who regularly consults for the Federal Reserve Bank in New York and the International Monetary Fund, said workers in Hollywood's gig economy who have been furloughed by the shutdown of film, TV, and productions, as well as cancellations of concert theater performance, would most likely be supported through the universal basic income style checks. The lawmakers on both sides have been advocating for. On one state-level employee, Californian whose job has been affected by things regardless of industry, can also apply for unemployment through the state's Unemployment Development Department. These are all things I support at the industry level. But if you want me to feel bad for Hollywood, it's not going to happen, not today, not any day. Some of the movie house or cinema companies like AMC or what have you, these are huge firms too, Hockett said. And it's true that their business model is being especially hit hard right now because people are loath to go and sit in theaters in some cases, aren't even permitted to. But it has to be remembered that those are not poor, hurting corporations. They're huge. Still, as an economic rescue package is being negotiated, the terms are subject to change and always remains a possibility that Hollywood's bigger business could receive aid. But Hako said he'd be pretty skeptical of anything being approved for the likes of Disney. Sorry, Hollywood. Keep sucking. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.